In this video, I'm going to teach all you parents what you can do to help your young athlete deal with the pressure that they feel in their sport. Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to you as well. This is episode number 5 of my Performing Under Pressure series here on my channel. Now, if you've missed any of the previous episodes, they should be popping up there on the right, but also make sure to leave a link in the description to each and every episode if you want to go back and check those out after this video. This episode of the series is specifically for you as a parent because it can be a really helpless feeling to see your child dealing with the pressure that they feel in their sport and struggling because of it and not knowing what you can do to help them. Today, we are going to solve that. I've got 5 tips that you can use immediately that will help position your athlete to better deal with that pressure that they feel in those big moments. Before we dive into all that, I do have a free gift for you today for stopping by the channel. If you have an athlete or a performer that could really use a boost in their ability to mentally prepare for their next big moment, I want you to go over to trainwithperk.com/free guide. That 100% free guide takes about 10 minutes to get through, and it's filled with 3 easy to install tools that any athlete can use to better help them prepare for their next big moment. And today, since we're talking about pressure, and if you're seeing those same struggles in your child, I really encourage you to get over there and get that guide. Again, it's trainwithperk.com/free guide. All right, tip number 1 is to help them embrace that moment. As I've talked about throughout this series, the single biggest reason that your athlete struggles with pressure in those moments is because they perceive those moments or those situations as something that's threatening to them. That threat, of course, is how other people might think of them, how you, their parents, might think of them, or of course how the impact of maybe if they fail, how that potentially could impact their role on the team or their potential larger career. Now, these are all really threatening things, and they're also really unproductive thought patterns that are happening that stem from the fact that they don't want to be in those situations because of how it makes them feel. The easiest way that you can help them as a parent is to encourage them to embrace those moments that they're in, to tell them that it's completely normal that they feel that way, and that in fact that they feel that way because they're in a moment that's meaningful and impactful to them. So it's completely normal to feel that way. All right, tip number 2 is remind them that this isn't their last opportunity. Many developing athletes treat situations like a tryout or like a big game as if it's the last time that they're ever going to have an important moment or an important opportunity in their sport. And they do this because they don't have the perspective that older, more experienced athletes have. This is where you as a parent become incredibly valuable to them because you have the perspective that they need. You just need to be able to communicate that perspective of this isn't going to be the last opportunity they ever get. You need to be able to communicate that perspective with them. Tip number 3 is tell them to focus on what's in their control. A big side effect of pressure is that athletes start down this road or start down these thought patterns thinking and telling themselves that they're in control of absolutely everything, especially they think that they're in control of the results that they get. And obviously they don't have complete control over the outcome or the results that they get because there's just simply too many variables. You have their teammates, the opponents, their coaches, the officials, and heck, even the weather. All these things are inherently outside of their control. But they do have control over one thing and one thing only, and that's themselves. And that's exactly what we need to encourage them to focus on. That includes their focus, their attitude, the effort that they give, how they choose to respond to mistakes. All of those things and several more, all of those things lie completely in their control. And that's what you need to be reminding them. That's what's important here. We can't control the outcomes, and the more that we try and control all those things that are outside of our control, the more those things start to control us. So instead, we need to encourage them to place their focus on what's actually in their control. All right, tip number 4 is have them breathe. Now this sounds like such a simple tip, but it's incredibly important because when your athlete starts to feel that pressure, that's going to create a very big stress response in the body. And the single most efficient way for your athlete to learn how to control that stress that they feel is through their breathing. And I've got an entire video, I'll leave that above, I've got an entire video that will walk them through exactly how they should be breathing and also some great examples of when they can use this technique. But especially when it comes to pressure and they feel that massive stress response, breathing is the single most efficient way for them to dial that down so that way they can start to gain control over not only their body, but also their mind. Tip number 5 is to check in with them and make them aware of their self-talk. If there is one destructive action that athletes tend to take when they feel pressure, it's in how they choose to talk to themselves. Self-talk, specifically negative self-talk, is a mental action that they're taking because of how they feel, and when they take this action, they're really setting themselves up to fail, and they're really making it hard on themselves to find success consistently. An easy thing you can do as a parent is to ask the athlete, how are you talking to yourself right now? And then follow that up with, is that productive? Is that a productive action or the most productive action that you should be taking in this moment? And this is actually a really powerful technique because you're forcing your young athlete to call attention and to look inward and to become more aware of some of those statements that they're saying to themselves. And you would be surprised how often athletes are unaware of just how harsh they're being to themselves in those moments. There you have it. There are 5 tips that you can use as a parent immediately to help position your athlete to better deal with the pressure that they feel in those moments. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, again, make sure that you get over there, trainwithperk.com/free guide. I'll see you next week.